The appetizer comes from the Carolinas and Chef James Burns. He cooks a southern specialty expropriated by Hollywood, fried green tomatoes with crab remoulade. Then from Cajun country in Louisiana, Hallman Woods III presents grilled duck breast, seasoned with Dijon mustard, and served with the chef's version of dirty rice. Dessert is offered by executive pastry chef Sebastien Canonne at the Ritz-Carlton Four Seasons in Chicago. It's his interpretation of creme brulee, flavored with passion fruit puree. CIA graduate James Burns worked in New York, notably Tavern on the Green, before moving to South Carolina in 1989, 3 months before Hurricane Hugo. Things had to get better, and did in 1994, when he opened his J Bistro in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Here's the appetizer, fried green tomatoes.
First we're going to make the chow chow. It's apple cider vinegar, sugar, a little bit of salt, celery seed, and mustard seed. Put that on a high heat and let it boil for a couple of minutes. After it's boiled for a couple of minutes, we add our pulsed vegetables, which are green tomatoes, onions, and bell peppers. Just add all of your vegetables to the mix.
Bring this mixture back to the boil and simmer for 10 minutes.
Okay, the remoulade. Basically, I suppose it's a spicy Cajun type of mayonnaise. And again, the mise en place tray is very important to make it. We add a couple of egg yolks. Four ounces of the Creole mustard. One onion, diced. And then all of the seasoning. We have paprika, celery salt, a little granulated garlic, some cayenne pepper, some black pepper, and a pinch of salt. As the onions are totally pureed in the mix, we slowly incorporate some olive oil. We adjust the consistency and the flavor with some apple cider vinegar. the seasoning mix for the fried green tomatoes and anything else that you might want to fry here in the South. It's a mixture of cornmeal and flour with some black pepper, paprika, cayenne, granulated garlic, and salt. We have a fresh lump crab meat that we're going to dress with some of the spicy remoulade. When the oil's good and hot, coat your tomatoes real well with the mix.
The tomatoes are fried very quickly, less than a minute and a half. The chow chow finishes the presentation.
That's the fried green tomatoes, spicy lump crab remoulade, and green tomato chow chow.
In the unlikely location of New Iberia, Louisiana, is Le Rosier, a picturesque inn which is bed but much more than breakfast. This thanks to the inventive cooking of Hallman Woods III. A Louisiana native, he is adept at reinterpreting Creole Acadian dishes. Consider his duck breast with wild rice. The rice dressing is started in butter and olive oil. Bear in mind that the wild rice used is pre-cooked.
We can start adding our ingredients. We have a little chopped yellow onion. Chopped green bell pepper and a little celery. I like to use a little red bell pepper in here for color also. And after the vegetables start to get a little translucent and tender, we're going to add some chopped mushroom, fresh. The regular store button mushrooms are great. I like to use a little wild mushrooms chopped up in here also. A little portobello adds a nice extra texture to it and flavor. Some dried shiitakes would be great in there too. A nice ingredient when we debone our duck, we're going to reserve some of the duck liver and chop that real fine and add that. That ingredient is particularly nice with the duck because it adds a little game flavor to it and really is a nice complement to the duck. the grilled duck breast. And one of our key ingredients is some chopped tasso. This is a smoked ham shoulder, and we're going to chop up that real fine and add that. I mean, it's a tremendously nice, subtle smoke flavor to the dish. That's a true Acadian style product. I like to use that in a number of our sautés as a major flavor component. You can smell a lot of that smoky flavor coming out already. Okay. Another nice touch is the roasted tomato. This is basically just a stewed tomato that you can use out of the can. What we've done here is put them in the oven with a little olive oil for a long time on a low temperature and made almost like a tomato confit out of it. It's just a nice roasted stewed tomato. Stewed tomatoes out of the can chopped up, it works just as well. Once our vegetables get nice and sauteed, we're going to add some of our wild rice. And again, this has already been cooked. And you notice that we have a lot of product in here and there's not much liquid, so we're going to loosen it up. The little homemade chicken broth to give it a little moisture. And then we're going to start seasoning with a little salt. I'm going to use cracked black pepper here. A nice flavor to it, and again, this is kind of a fairly rustic kind of rice dish. Use a little fresh garlic plus a little garlic powder. Some ground thyme. We're also going to use a few ground, chopped, fresh thyme leaves at the end. A little cayenne pepper. And a little chopped jalapeno. This is fresh jalapeno that we chop up with a little garlic. And it's been simmered for a moment in a little vinegar. Now this dish is ready to go now. You can serve it right hot out of the skillet. And when we bring it back to serve, all we want to do is take it out of the refrigerator and put it in a saute pan and add some chicken broth to loosen it up and heat it up in that mixture.
To prepare for grilling, the duck breasts are skinned.
Add a little olive oil. Sprinkle a little salt. A little cracked black pepper. A little garlic. We're going to flip them over. Get a little olive oil. We'll put a little Dijon mustard on them. The reason I'm doing this is, one, we've taken all the fat off of it, and we want to add a little flavor component, but this will also act as a nice little crust. And what we can do with that is start adding a little more salt, nice cracked black pepper, again a little garlic. You could use a little cayenne pepper if you wish. I tend to shy away from it a little bit because it has a little too much of a bite. And we're going to use a little fresh thyme leaves.
The duck goes on the grill mustard side down and is seared quickly. The duck is sliced thinly and is obviously very rare. It will go into the oven for a little further cooking just before presentation. A garnish is deep-fried shredded sweet potato called hay. The sauce is a duck demi-glace.
Wild rice tasso dressing. To spruce up the background, ooh, baby French green beans. Sweet potato hay. A little demi-glace and duck essence.
Sebastien Canonne began his career at 15 in the culinary school of Rouen near Normandy. He subsequently cooked for a French president, worked for a 3-star Michelin chef, and apprenticed in a famous Paris pastry shop. From the Ritz-Carlton Four Seasons in Chicago, he presents passion fruit creme brulee. The dish is started by beating 20 egg yolks and 2 whole eggs.
Before to incorporate now the sugar, granulated sugar,
10 ounces.
by steps, to make sure that we are not burning the egg yolks by the action of the sugar. To the previous mix of egg yolks, eggs and sugar, we're now adding the fresh passion fruit puree.
5 ounces. A quart and a half of heavy cream and half quart of milk are tempered in.
We have now the milk and the cream boiling, and we are going to slowly pour it over the previous mix of eggs, sugar, and fresh passion fruit puree. Mixing well.
The mixture is strained and then portioned into soup bowls. Notice this recipe produces 12 portions.
For that, we first put the creme brulee into the oven.
Bake at 325 degrees, 35 to 45 minutes.
And pour the water on second hand to make it easier. You have to check the consistency of the brulee. The time can be a little bit different according to the dish you are using, the thickness of the plates, and of course the temperature of the oven. At this point, just let the brulee and cook then until right consistency, firm to the touch.
Sugar sprinkled on the finished custard will be caramelized.
You have several techniques to burn a custard, the brulee today. You could use the top of your oven, a salamander that we use professionally, or just a torch. Slowly, we are going to burn and melt the sugar down.
If you try this at home, hire a welder, at least for presentation.
And by step, caramelized the Brulee.
Garnish includes shaved fresh coconut, lychees with the husks simply folded back, and thinly sliced pineapple rounds, which are first poached in simple syrup, lightly browned in a 275-degree oven, then molded on a cylinder, much like a Tuile cookie.
We're now ready to finish the Brulee by placing one of the pineapple crisp, one of the small physalis. We're going to choose small sprig of mint, and 1 or 2 shavings of fresh coconut.